Welcome to the GAB Talks by the Independent Press Award. Your host is Gabby Olzak. To participate in the 2026 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and nycbigbookaward.com. Folks, welcome to today's episode of the GAB Talks. We're excited for our second visit with Michael C. Higgins, author and photographer of Exploring Wine Regions, Mexico, exploring Mexico's quality wines and phenomenal cuisine. It's the winner of the 2025 Independent Press Award in the travel category. It's a gorgeous compilation of more than 600 photos, over 100 wineries, and extensive research of 3 distinct wine regions. This book is going to blow your mind, folks, when you look at it. Exploring Wine Regions book series debuted in 2017 with Argentina, followed by Bordeaux, France, the Central Coast of California, and the most recent volume, which is Mexico. And each of the editions have received numerous awards and accolades. Greece, by the way, is the next book in the series, and we'll talk about that later in the podcast. Exploring Wine Regions incorporates travel, wine education, culinary experiences, and in-depth profiles of sommeliers, winemakers, culture, restaurants, lodging, and so much more. For over 20 years, Michael has been the publisher of Flying Adventures magazine, a lifestyle travel magazine for food and wine lovers and who travel via private airplanes, lucky ducks. And yeah, Michael is a publisher, author, photojournalist, private pilot, food enthusiast, and wine expert. He's an accomplished and published photographer. His work has been featured in National Geographic, Forbes, and Decanter magazines. A true Renaissance man. Michael earned a BA in commercial art, an MBA, and a PhD in business administration. He's a California native, and he joins us today from Pasadena, California. Congratulations, Michael. Welcome back to the GAB Talks. It's great to see you again.
Well, thank you, Gabby. That was so nice of what you just said. My gosh.
It's all true. I didn't lie about anything.
I was going to say you're hired. I want to take you home.
Well, let me tell you, this book was just, it was fantastic. So beautiful and full of many surprises, which we're going to talk about.
Thank you.
Michael, when we last spoke, we dove deep into the Central Coast wine region. You then shifted to Mexico and are now working on Greece. That brings you to 5 volumes in total.
Yes.
Wow. That you've been busy, real busy. You describe yourself as a photojournalist, award-winning author, which you are, and a valiant adventurer, no doubt. So, Michael, share with our listeners, why do you do what you do, and what's the most rewarding aspects of this project?
Wow. I'm going to start with the second question.
Okay.
The most rewarding part is the research, because I go there and I drink the wine and I eat the food and I experience everything. Oh. And I love photography, which is why the photography is so prominent in the book.
Yeah. It's everywhere. Hold up the book,
I'll tell you
Show
this.
What you're talking about. Gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, yes. But, to answer your first question, I started with Argentina, like you said, and then Bordeaux. But these next three books actually have a theme to my desire to introduce people to wine regions you would not normally think about. Because like with California, I didn't do California. I didn't do Napa. I didn't do Sonoma. I did the Central Coast of California because people don't realize how good that is. It's spectacular. Yeah. And now Mexico, people don't even think of Mexico for wine, but the wines are great. And so I want to introduce people to Mexico and the wines and the foods. And the same thing's true with the next book with Greece. My gosh, I thought Greece was going to be this little book, but it could be my biggest book. It's just so extensive with all of the wine regions. It's all over Greece.
Wow.
So that's really why I'm doing it, is to help people find and give them the insider, travel guide to the wine regions.
And you do, getting back to Mexico, you cover 3 regions in Mexico, including the Valle de Guadalupe. which
Yep.
I understand is becoming kind of famous, but your book really goes beyond that. It goes really deep. And, as we talked about before the podcast started, Michael, it's not the Mexico that most of us envision, which is, let's face it, tequila, not wine. We all think of tequila,
That's right.
Mexico. In fact, you've even said that although you're a lifelong visitor of Mexico, you never thought of Mexico for wine. So, what led you to discover this side of Mexico as a wine region?
Well, what's even crazier about me not thinking of Mexico for wine is I've lived in Southern California my whole life.
Yeah.
And I grew up in San Diego. That's about as close to Mexico. And that Valle de Guadalupe is only an hour over the border. And I never went. Never. I mean, I knew it was there, but I never really thought it had any importance until the book came up. But to answer your question, when I started with the California book, I thought of Baja California because it's still California, just a different country.
Right.
And so I started researching Valle de Guadalupe. And then when I did the central coast of California, I couldn't put Valle de Guadalupe because they're not the central coast of California. And that's what led me to do Mexico as its own book.
Interesting. And then you discovered these other regions along the way. But didn't you get a phone call or from your one of the winemakers?
I did.
How did that work out? And what's that Argentinian connection with Mexico? What's happening there besides the language?
Well, so, Argentina is my first book.
Right.
And there's a winemaker down there in Argentina. This woman is very talented and used to work for this incredibly famous top level winery. And so when she sent me a text, and I was in Valle de Guadalupe when she sent me the text, and she says, "Michael, I'm in Mexico." And my response was, "Where? I'll come see you. I am too." And then she said she was in Guanajuato. And I said, "Guanajuato? What is Guanajuato?" I had no idea. And it's in the mountains north of Mexico City. And that's where she ended up.
Wow.
And quite a few Argentina winemakers have come up there because of the opportunity. One, the language. Two, Mendoza's a mountain region. Guanajuato's a mountain region. They're used to that same sort of terroir. It's not the same, but it's similar. The language, and more than anything else, the opportunity.
For discovery of this incredible
region. For money, because Argentina's had a tough time with their economy, so they've moved up there. There's another winemaker in Guanajuato who makes sparkling wine. He's really a great sparkling winemaker. He literally moved all of his equipment from Argentina to Mexico. Wow. Developed a contract relationship with one of the wineries and moved all the stuff in and started making sparkling wines.
That's an amazing story.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah. I mean, he shipped it all up in boats,
That's how confident he was. So, Michael, you said, I love this quote, wine grapes are the smartest species in the world because they live in the most beautiful places on the planet. I love that.
It's true.
It is true. Your books are so visually stunning, and Mexico really is truly special, and everyone will see that once they read the book. What surprised you most about the region, and what makes it so remarkable and different from the other regions that you've photographed and researched?
Wow, the very first thing that comes to mind is food.
Which is also a big surprise.
Well, it's a big surprise.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Mexican food. I'm talking about international cuisine, gourmet, beautiful presentations. But the surprise is that most of the wineries have these gourmet restaurants.
Wow. And when you say gourmet, they can compare with Michelin star restaurants.
Oh my gosh. It's you will feel like you are in Beverly Hills at a Michelin star restaurant at 75% off.
Wow. So how does that food culture, which is not renowned but might shortly be, interact with the whole wine scene? How does that work out if all of the wineries have these gourmet restaurants? How did this all happen without anyone knowing about it?
Isn't it crazy? Well,
Yeah.
when I was in this was another text message. I'm in Valle de Guadalupe, and I get a text message from a friend, well, an acquaintance. I hadn't talked to her in years, and she sends me a text message, and I tell her I'm in Valle de Guadalupe, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I go there 3 to 4 times a year." And I said,
Wow.
"Well, then you've got to tell me, which winery should I go to?" And her response was, "I don't go there for wineries. I go there for the food."
Wow.
She goes there for the food, and it's like the light bulb comes on. I'm at a winery that has a restaurant with an incredible chef, and the restaurant has no menu. It says we cook what we find. That's the menu. We cook
So
what
it's
we
a
find.
chef tasting menu.
Totally. And
Those are always my favorite experiences. I'm sure you feel the same way.
so this is a food and wine experience. Remember, it's at a winery, right? So they want to
Right.
show off their wines.
Of course.
And it's 10 or 12 courses. I can't remember. They probably delivered 14 courses.
Wow.
And every course had wine pairing, and not just wine pairing. I think 2 of the courses they did it with a cocktail because the cocktail was a better pairing. They were really, really smart in their pairings. And one pairing was with a beer.
Really?
Yes. And in the end, imagine this, whatever that was, 10, 12, 14 courses paired with all these wines and cocktails and stuff, $100. That's it. Like crazy. And the food is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know what? Okay, wait a second. Let's find them in the book because we both have the book, right? Okay, so they're in the beginning of the book, and here we go. This is it.
Look at this, folks. Look at some of these photographs. Wow.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Go that we think of.
So look at this. Look at that right there.
God.
Look at this here. Do you see
That
that?
is gorgeous.
This is the restaurant I was talking to you about. This is their incredible cuisine. Page 42 and 43.
Your books have been, you've covered France, Bordeaux, so central coast of California, but specifically Bordeaux. How does Mexico compete or compare to in terms of wine, culture, innovation? Is it up there?
Wow. Well, remember in the 70s that California, U.S., California, sent the wine to the Paris blind tasting, and we won. And that's when the French hated us ever since.
We talked about that in our first interview. I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a winery in Mexico that sent their Cabernet to the blind tasting, and they won.
Wow. So they're competing on a global level. They really are.
They are. Well,
that's amazing.
You know what the good news is? Is it took the pressure off of us. The French now they can hate the Mexicans.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent.
Right.
Well, go on.
Well, I wanted to tell you one more thing.
Yes.
The French Laundry restaurant in Napa Valley, it's a 3-star Michelin restaurant, considered one of the best restaurants in the United States year after year.
Yes.
One of the wineries in Valle de Guadalupe have their wines on that wine list.
That's incredible.
That's a big deal because they wouldn't put a bad wine on a 3-star Michelin wine list.
Yes. Wow. That's a huge deal.
So they're really doing great wine.
They are doing great wine. And, I thought this was interesting, and I know this was also a surprise to you, Michael. Tell us about Mexico's wine history. It's much longer than most people realize.
Wow. So, back in the olden days, Spain conquered Mexico, or let's call it the area. It wasn't called Mexico back then.
Yeah.
And when the king conquered that area, he demanded that vineyards were planted all over the country. In fact, there was something like, 1,000 vineyards or 1,000 vines per, I can't remember what it is. It's in my book. I have to read my book. I don't remember it, but Mexico, or the area, planted vineyards everywhere. And of course, some places were just not good and it disappeared. But the good places were making good wine, and the wine had to be shipped back to Spain because, the king wants the wine, right? Well, there became a problem. The wines from Mexico were better than the wines from Spain. And that was a problem. So the king started taxing the wine, so it never made any more any more commercial sense for the winemakers to send their wine to Spain. So they kind of put them out of business. That created a revolution. And this revolution was not just a revolution over the wine. It became the revolution for the country when Mexico got its independence from Spain. Isn't that amazing?
So Mexico gains its independence from Spain all because of wine.
Because of wine. Isn't that just amazing? Isn't it amazing?
No, that is. That's, again, I'm just still in shock that Mexico is not just tequila. I mean, really, this is just, it's an education.
Yes.
Folks. You have to read this. So, Michael, you're really known for immersive, boots on the ground research. You took 4 years to do the Argentina book. California was 3 years. You explored 3 regions in Mexico. And I think I heard you say that you were in Greece for a year.
Well, I've been going to Greece now for 3 years in a row.
To research your book.
Right. And this year, I was there twice for a total of 3 months.
Wow.
So that's immersion. I really go and get involved. That's how I create these books.
That is immersion. So what does the process look like in terms of research and itinerary? Do you design the itinerary, and how do you know where to go? How does that all work out?
Well, I work with people there. So like in Greece, there's a Department of Tourism. Mm-hmm. And within the Department of Tourism, there is wine tourism, believe it or not. There's actually a department for that. And there is a guy that I work with who creates my itineraries. And the first time an itinerary is made for me anywhere, I just go with whatever they do. I tell them what I want. I want high quality wines and super good tourism.
Okay, so
those are important.
Guidance. You give, right. And then they design the itinerary based on that.
And then after I do my first trip, now I'm knowledgeable and I've learned a lot, and I can guide them better for my second trip and my third trip.
Yeah.
Based on now what I know and what I'm missing and what I need and what's special about, their wine regions.
Okay. Question for you. We're looking through the book. What could we miss if we are just kind of casually leafing through the book? What should we really be focusing on all the books? All these books are authentic. They're all based on your journeys. In fact, we have a photograph. Michael, you have it tagged of you riding a horse. Why don't you show folks that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So all of these books are based on your journeys. For listeners who are considering a trip to Mexico wine country, there's Michael riding on a horse through the vineyards. I mean, how fantastic is that? So if our listeners are considering a trip to any of these regions, Argentina, Bordeaux, Central California, Mexico, how can Exploring Wine Regions series be a resource? Where should they begin, especially for a first-time visit?
Wow. So, when you ask about what you might miss, people tell me with the Mexico book that they miss the wineries because there's so much food.
There is,
I mean, the food is so just incredible.
And I know you said that was one of the biggest surprises for you was the food element, and it's obvious here. Oh, look, this is a favorite picture too.
Oh,
it's awesome.
Yes, that's my girlfriend. Her name is Rebecca. Yes.
So great. But it is. There's so much food, but obviously the wine is really the star of the show. So how can they use Exploring Wine Region series as a resource? How do you use the book?
So this is a tricky part for me as an author, because I want to appeal to the brand new person who wants to learn and go do it for the first time or the 10th time. But I also want to reach the person who's really knowledgeable and give them some insights that they wouldn't necessarily know. And I think I'm doing a good job with that. It's a tough thing to do, to appeal to both sides of that. But people can look at my book. they can know the kinds of wines that they like to drink. So here's something people don't want to miss, because this is your question.
Yeah.
Terroir.
Yes, that's
Terroir. Terroir. Terroir is where the grapevines are grown. You know, it's the soil, it's the climate, it's the weather, it's the people. And so different types of grapes grow better in different places. So if you are interested in a certain kind of wine, you can use my book to find the wines that you're interested in. I mean, it really takes you right to what you want to drink. Okay. So, and then I tell them the name, the address, the phone number, you know, the website, all the wines that they make. I tell them which is my favorite wine so they can know what I think is the best that they do, which also helps guide them. And then while my printed book is big and heavy, which you might not want to travel with, and it's a beautiful coffee table book, which is perfect for a gift,
but you may not. Beautiful gifts book also.
But you don't want to ruin it traveling. So we've created the travel edition, a digital ebook travel edition. And in that travel edition, these addresses and phone numbers and website and emails are all active links. And my favorite part of the digital book is I can click on the address and it opens up the maps and it navigates me to the winery.
Wow. Can't be any easier than that, honestly.
And it's so helpful because you don't know where you're going.
Right.
You know, you're in a foreign country going to a winery you've never been to before, and some of them are kind of remote, and this just takes you right there. This is like the best part. But the phone number's alive, so you can call them, make a reservation.
That's great. Wow, an actual real person. I love that.
Exactly. Or you could email them from home before you even leave for the country.
That's amazing. And you offer a lot of other services too. Tell us about that.
You mean as far as travel goes?
Yeah, I mean, you'll plan itineraries for folks.
I'll plan itineraries,
all kinds of things. Yeah,
and sometimes I plan a group itinerary and people can join me.
I bet that would be.
And that's really good because I go in the back door.
That's really good. I bet that's really good. So, Michael, you know, most of us are casual wine drinkers and novices, and I think you were like the rest of us once upon a time. How did you switch from the jug of wine to the good bottle? How did you make that leap?
Well, I never switched from the jug bottle. When I grew up, my father had that jug wine, that big gallon, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
The big gallon of Gallo?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. Right. I had that one too on my table. Yep.
So here's what I knew about wine. It tasted terrible. I wanted nothing to do with it.
That's so funny.
And it wasn't until later as an adult, somebody put a great glass of wine in front of me. And I sort of, with reservations, took a taste and said, oh my God, what happened? This is amazing. So really, I went straight in from quality wine from the beginning because the bad wine kept me away from wine.
So as soon as you really started drinking wine, it started with the good stuff and then you couldn't stop.
Right. And you know what? You have to drink the good stuff. And once you drink good stuff, you can't go back. All you want is better and better and better.
That's true. As with anything. So if you could only drink wine from one country for a year, which one would it be?
I can't do it.
You can't do it?
Impossible. No.
Too many good. Okay.
Well, think about it. So Bordeaux, France, that is the home of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Right. Love that.
And Cabernet Sauvignon is the most planted grape all over the world. Cabernet Sauvignon is what's made Napa famous.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about Guanajuato in Mexico. That's what they do best there is Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, okay.
So the whole world plants Cabernet Sauvignon because it's the most purchased wine, most planted grape. So when you ask me about which country, well, I love Cabernet Sauvignon, but it doesn't matter the country. It matters the terroir. As long as the terroir is excellent, then they can make excellent wines. But you see, I'm a Pinot Noir drinker too, which is kind of the opposite of Cabernet. It's the light red wine, you know, and needs a different terroir.
Well, is there a wine region that you think is underrated? I
Wow,
mean,
underrated.
you have Greece coming out, underrated. Mexico,
Underrated.
underrated.
Central Coast of
Um,
California, underrated. They're all
underrated.
underrated.
So what's the next one after?
Overrated. See, overrated is like Bordeaux
Oh,
because they're famous. That's like the
overrated.
home of all these famous grapes.
Yeah,
And you got to go, you've got to go.
of course. So if you could teleport to any wine region, not Mexico, besides Mexico, where would you go? Any wine
Well,
region.
oh, it's easy actually because I've been doing Greece. I would go to Greece. Oh my
Would you? Is
gosh,
that
absolutely.
is that your favorite so far?
Well, I've spent the last 3 years going there. I'm so
Yeah.
in tune with what they're making, and they make great wines. They really do. I think you went there for your honeymoon to Santorini, and Santorini is known for Assyrtiko is the wine they have there. It's a white wine. It is incredibly delicious, but it's becoming so famous. The quality is so high that the price of grapes for the Assyrtiko on Santorini Island is more expensive than the grapes in Champagne or Burgundy.
Wow, really?
That's
See,
what's crazy. You would never know that. And so the rest of Greece is planting Assyrtiko because the demand is so high and it's their most famous grape, but it
what
doesn't
was
taste the same unless it's on the terroir of Santorini Island. It's so delicious. It's incredible.
what makes I want to circle back to Mexico. What in terms of terroir, what makes Mexico so unique and what makes it the perfect spot actually to grow wine?
Well, let's start with Valle de Guadalupe,
Yeah.
which is where it's something like 90 or 95% of the wine in Mexico comes from. That they really are the producer.
Okay.
And they're on the West Coast, the Pacific Ocean, with a valley. It's in a valley. Valle means Valley of Guadalupe. They have the exact same concept of terroir that the rest of California, Napa, Sonoma, Santa Barbara, all of the wine regions in California, because remember, they're California, they're Baja California. So what
Yeah.
happens is in all these places we just talked about, is there are valleys that get hot, and then the Pacific Ocean is very cold, and that cold comes in and it gives a huge extreme of temperature from day to night. And
Uh-huh.
that's what wine grapes want. The bigger the range, the better it gets. And so they have that. And that's not necessarily unique, but I wanted to say that because they have the same terroir as California. There's no mistake for the fact why they're producing such good wines. But let's go to Guanajuato and
Yeah.
Querétaro because those are the other two places. And those places are unique, very unique. So there's a parallel on the northern and southern hemisphere of the 30 to 50 parallel. That's where all the wine regions are in the world, between 30 and 50. And Valle de Guadalupe is within that 30 to 50. But Guanajuato is not. And Querétaro is the state right next to it to the east. It's not. It's too far south. And you would never expect it to work. But the altitude is super high. They're in the mountains. It
The
starts
elevation.
at 6,500 feet. So these
Wow.
grapes are at high altitude. So now think about this high altitude, great exposure from the sun, right? Intense exposure from the sun. And then because of that mountainous region, it gets cold at night. They're getting that range.
And that's
It
what the great.
makes it work. And
Yeah.
then Querétaro, well, so I told you Guanajuato is really good with Cabernet Sauvignon. But
Yeah.
next to them is Querétaro, and Querétaro is the sparkling wine region. If you love champagne, this is where you want to go. It's small. There's not a lot of wineries. I have 5 of them in my book, but they specialize in the sparkling wines. In fact, in Querétaro has the winery with the most visitors in all of Mexico.
Really?
Crazy. It's in the middle of nowhere and they have the most visitors. And the reason why they have the most visitors is because they dug a humongous cave underground. Huge. It's gigantic. It's bigger than anything you can imagine. and you can get a tour to go down there and go into the cave.
Wow.
And that brings in people. They want to see how amazing it is. In fact, let me show you a picture. Oh, God, I went right to it. Look at this.
Mexico, you have a picture. That's great. Mexico must have, they must have really appreciated your research time and, of course, the book, because Mexico, as we know, relies tremendously on tourism. It's everything.
Yeah. And it's tourism for wine, tourism for food, tourism for caves. So, here's the winery. There's their sparkling wine, as you can see, the sparkling wine.
Yes.
But here is that cave. Look at that cave.
That's
this
incredible.
this is only a piece of the cave, because there's cave behind me. And then when you get to the end of that, it turns to the left. And and the cave keeps going. And then it goes another distance and turns left again. It's huge.
Wow. So Michael, what didn't make it into the book, an experience that you had that you'd like to share with us? Does anything come to mind?
That didn't make it into the book?
Yeah, that didn't make it into the book.
That's a good question. I'm sure there's something. So not every place I go to goes in the book. Remember, they're not paying for a space. This is a book. It's all editorial, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So if I go to a winery and the wine's not good, or it's boring and the tourism is just nothing, I'm not going to put them in the book. They're not going in the book. And I would say in Mexico, there were probably at least 5 or 6 or 8 wineries that did not go in the book.
There.
And probably some restaurants that did not go in the book.
Okay.
So, that happens. But one thing I do is I create something called extra chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And extra chapters is the answer to your question. These are the things that go in that did not make it into the book, that I find out later, and people can get the extra chapters. I give it for free. That's what I do. And somewhere in the book, I tell them, how to get it. Maybe you want your readers to know, I can tell them how to get it.
Sure.
Extra chapters. Oh, this is easy. Extra at exploringwineregions.com. So exploringwineregions.com is the website, and it's also what we use for email. So it's extra at exploringwineregions.com. And so this is where I put the extra things I find out about that go in there.
Yeah.
And it's a continuing process. So if someone gets extra today, it still has Argentina in there from the beginning.
That's perfect.
Well, so I just keep adding.
You just keep adding to it. So Michael, you're an entrepreneur. It's obvious that you're extremely passionate about everything that you create. Advice for folks out there, whether you're researching a wine region, a book, publishing your magazine, or producing beautiful photography, what is the most essential skill set successful folks such as yourself need to possess?
To do what it is I'm doing?
Yeah, to do what you're doing. Yeah.
Well,
besides tenacity.
Tenacity. Well, you know what? I tell people, maybe this is just life's experience with business, that the most important attribute to have is to never give up. Mm-hmm. Remember, you haven't failed till you quit. So if you don't quit, you've never failed. And the truth is sometimes you just got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing till it happens.
Yeah.
And while you see my passion and you see the beautiful results, it's not always a pretty picture. Sometimes I have to work so hard to get things done, and I just have to keep working at it, because I want my books to be excellent, and excellence sometimes takes, continuing to push ahead to get what you need to get into the book.
And takes years. Okay, so Greece, you said you spent the past 3 years. You said this is probably going to be your largest book ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I've written probably at least 150, 175 pages.
Wow.
And the 2 biggest regions of Greece, the 2 biggest wine regions, I haven't written about yet. So I'm really expecting it to get big. I mean, I could picture it getting to 500. What's that?
You have a pub date for that?
Well, the pub date is 26. So, like October 26th.
Okay. Looking forward to that. And Michael, what's
I have
next?
a lot of work to do.
I know you already have another region in mind. What is it?
Well, I have two objectives.
Okay.
One objective you know about. I want to introduce people to a wine region that they don't necessarily know is a great wine region. Yes. So that's what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
But I have something else I want to do.
Okay.
I want to do a small wine region. I want to do something small because these books take a long time. I mean, Greece has taken me 3 years, 4 years. California took me 3 years. Bordeaux, 4 years. This is long term. I want to do something small so I can get more books out. So I actually have 4 places in mind, and I haven't really started pursuing it yet, but 2 of them are in Italy. One is Sicily. I think Sicily could be really good. The vineyards are growing on the volcanoes. It's a small place.
Like climate that
the climate, the food, everything about it it's perfect. And it's a small book. I can get it done. I want to do more books.
Yeah, that sounds.
And the other one in Italy is the heel of the boot. You know how Italy is a boot. The heel. Nobody knows anything about the heel, but it's a wine region, and it's like it has less tourism. I mean, what a great place to go. I'm actually really excited about doing that one.
That's exciting. So when do you get started with all of that?
I want to get Greece done. I have so much to do to get Greece done. I'm just going to keep plugging away. And, part of which I choose of these 4 is going to be if somebody at that destination is ready to jump in and help me, because I need their help. I could do an itinerary, but it's a lot of work. And of course, I don't know the wineries. They do. I don't know how to reach them. They do. Right. They can put it all together easily. So I need their help. I need their help because they know who has great wine and great tourism. Yeah. So, whichever of these 4 kind of steps up to the plate first, I'll do first. And then whoever steps up to the plate second, I'll do second. But this is what I want to do.
That's fair. Well, that sounds really exciting, and we're looking forward to all of it. So, Michael, lastly, you offer a slew of services, resources, and folks, all of these books, it's the holidays, fantastic gifts. Absolutely wonderful. Where can our listeners find out more about you, because you're a very interesting person, and also purchase Exploring Wine book series, which incidentally, again, make awesome gifts?
Yeah, they do make a good gift. They're either $35 or $45, depending on how big they are. So like Mexico is $35. And it's so impressive. What a great gift, It
is. It's absolutely beautiful.
Where they can find out about me and the books, of course, our website, which is exploringwineregions.com. Okay. And our distribution is really good. We have a great distributor, so you can get them at Barnes & Noble stores, as well as Barnes & Noble online. You can get them at Amazon, but you can get them at your small bookstore in your town. And wine shops, they're all over the country. I mean, it's really extensive. And I get surprised. The other day, I was looking for something online at Walmart. They carry 3 of my books. I'm thinking, wait a minute, how did that happen?
Oh, my goodness. That's wonderful.
So it's like they're everywhere,
That's great.
And maybe, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was going to say, since it's Walmart, they discount the books. So it's a good price going there.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the tip.
So that's good to know. But there's another thing to know, though. If they come to my website and they mention that they heard about us from you and what we're doing right now, I will personally autograph them. Because if they buy it from a bookstore, it's not going to be autographed. But if it's from me, I'll autograph them. And if they want to give them as a gift, I can autograph them, personalize it to the person that they're giving the gift to.
Very nice. Very nice touch. I love that. Wow. This has been so much fun. Mike, it's always great to chat with you. Thanks for joining us at the GAB Talks
Thank
today.
you, Gabby.
I hope we're going to see you at Book Camp and the awards dinner in New York in April. That would be so much fun.
Yes, I'm really thinking it works. I'm excited to come. I
can
didn't make it this year, but I made it the year before, and it's
We
really
did
a
our
valuable
first year.
experience.
That was wonderful, and we can have a share a glass of Pinot Noir together. That would be
Oh, I
fabulous.
can't wait, Gabby. That'll be perfect.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much,
all these great
Michael.
questions today.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for giving us so many beautiful photographs, so much to read about, so much to think about, and so much to discover. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And folks, join us next podcast when we chat with Ivana Alfason, author of The Soul of War, Ukraine, where every step tells their story. This is your hostess, Gabby Olzak of the Gab Talks. Until next time, keep on reading.